So is there such a thing as a cheap Ferrari? Alex on the AutoAlex YouTube channel bought a very, very cheap 360 Modena, a yellow one, for around about 22k. The end price was a little bit vague. Got it running with a little help from Rossa, and then Alex crashed it, and then they decided that the repairs previously perhaps weren't the greatest, as the rear subframe was not lining up with the rear chassis mounts, and have decided to sell it on as a project to somebody else. As you may have seen on my channel, I've recently scrapped Maserati that had suffered flood damage at my hands. So I broke it down into its component parts and stuck them all on eBay, and it's done pretty well from a financial point of view. So I did think the AutoAlex Ferrari might make a good project for me. I could break it the same way I've done the Maserati, take a look at the chassis, just see just how straight or not it is. So I popped an email across to the AutoAlex folks, but no reply. At around the same sort of time, another Ferrari, and again another 360, popped up on eBay, sub 30,000. Again, needed a little bit of work, TLC. But a couple of days later, the listing disappeared, so I thought probably been snapped up. So a few weeks ago, the same car again popped up on eBay, same seller.
Blind Guy TV, and we're in the hangar, and this is my Ferrari 360, which is up for sale, unfortunately.
Now, I don't have 25 grand lying around, unfortunately, but I do have a few other cars and projects on the go, and thought it might be something that would work as a project, replacing all my other projects and fulfilling my ambition to actually own a Ferrari. So after a fair bit of late night Google action, found various bits of history on it, ran a car check, all that kind of good stuff. No advert here for car whatever it is. So I pinged across an email to the seller, Andrew, and got a pretty prompt reply accepting my offer. Probably something to do with the 2 hours he'd just spent in a cold barn watching someone kick its tyres. So I pinged a sizable deposit over, sight unseen. Let's just go for it. So the headline is, this is an X-Track Experience car. It was owned by Silverstone along with a fleet of 360s at the time. Silverstone had 2 blue 360s in the fleet that would be running around doing laps with the general public, watched over by some very patient instructors.
Let us use the width of the circuit out to the
Don't feed the wheel, same still 40 degrees, so thumb just above that centrepiece.
Now the car's put down a fair few miles as you'd expect lapping the circuit, and they were also kitted out for the experience days. They had roll cages in them, as well as plumbed-in fire extinguishers. The car I'm buying has got one of these roll cages still in it, a safety devices roll cage. I've had a little bit of experience with safety devices roll cages in the past. Rather been there, won the trophy. Now these cars would have been maintained on site by Silverstone, so they really wouldn't have the history of a typical Ferrari. Slight concern was slightly concerning was hearing that the mechanics couldn't count a potato. So you join me in a awesome barn full of lots and lots of toys, but most importantly, this toy, which I've put a deposit on. Yay! She needs a little bit of TLC, to say the least. There are many projects required to get this thing back on the road, but I cannot stop grinning. Yay! So, where to start? It's had a bit of polishing done, a bit too aggressively. We've got swirl marks all over the place. You can kind of see them down off here and all over the bonnet. The windscreen has a crack running through it. We have, I guess, what you'd term the normal type of corrosion. We're into Lotus Elise territory here. I'm guessing what I'm seeing here are a couple of upper timing covers. We've got a Silverstone 6-disc changer. Interesting, considering this car's past. There's a line running down here. Almost feels like a PPF line, but I'm guessing is a lacquer line from a repair on this corner. This bumper's got a crack in it. This side bumper's just got a bit of marking, and it's just hung in a little bit there. There's a bit more bubbling on this arch. There's quite extensive bubbling on the top of the door here, and yeah, we've got something perhaps fallen down, smacked onto the screen just there. Okay, and then round this back side here, we've got a bit more bubble. A scuff on the back of the bumper there. A single exhaust pipe coming out, which is interesting. I'm not sure what exhaust this is. It's got some wrap on it, but yeah, engine wise looks like an engine. Corner again, there's a little crack in the bodywork just there. They are week 52 2013. And just finishing off around the paintwork, we've again got a little bit of bubbling on this side, not too much, and a bit down here as well. There's a ding out of this little intake as well. So that's the outside. Interior wise, this thing has the tan leather interior. There's a little bit of corrosion going on that stem there. We've got a fire extinguisher plumbed in. Although the interior trim has been covered in this carbon fibre wrap, it actually looks quite good. The airbag cover is looking a bit meh. The roll cage it's a bolt-in, so it's bolted in here to the chassis down here. A mount point down here. Headlights are not cracked, and they're also don't look like they've got a lot of crud on the inside of them, so that's promising. So hopefully they'll polish up. We also have just here the under tray. So good news, what I'm not seeing is any oil. And look, here's the mounting bolts, I guess, for the roll hoop, for the rear cage. So there we go, a quick poke around, and all is as expected. Andrew's a very genuine bloke with an insane automotive history. You can check him out on Blind Guy TV on YouTube. So what's the plan here then? So I think for 25k I really can't go too wrong with this. Even if the car's a complete basket case, I can pretty much get to that sort of number in parts. And I've got some experience of selling bits of Italian sports car. So first off, the bodywork. I really don't care. I am not going to be spanking a huge heap of money getting this thing resprayed. Where I live, we have some pretty narrow country lanes, and I want to use this car. So bar a bit of a polish, and we might try and see if we can make the thing at least shine a little bit. I'm probably not going to be, at least for now, worrying about what the thing cosmetically looks like. I shall embrace the Ratta-Rossa style Ferrari ownership experience. But what we will try and do is obviously get it mechanically sorted and back into road going condition. So to summarise the problems at the moment, the car's only running on one bank on 4 cylinders. The ECUs have been swapped, making no difference, so we think they're probably going to be okay. But I have been told by a former instructor at Silverstone that these cars did have the ability for the instructors to cut the cars down to 4 cylinders with a flick of a switch. So chances are the looms have been played with somewhat in these cars' past. I was also told by Andrew that the car was running pretty well and fine until they removed a load of dashboard components to get them sent away and hydro dipped. So plan A, strip the interior, chase through all the wiring, see if we can get this thing running on all 8 cylinders, and see if we can get the throttle pedal talking to the throttle bodies, which they seem to not be doing at the moment. The timing belts definitely, I'm told, 100% need doing, and that's not something we're going to mess around with. So we'll definitely be doing that as one of the early first steps. So as I mentioned on my first video on this channel, I've always really dreamed of Ferrari ownership, so it's great to be there. And having the Maserati for a few years has given me a bit of confidence that basically these things, they are only cars. I guess this is going to be my ultimate automotive DIY adventure. So hopefully the next video we'll be picking this car up, we'll get it back home and start having a proper dig around and see what we've got. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to see more of this, please hit the like and subscribe button. Next video in a couple of weeks' time. By the way, I've got an Elise going cheap if anyone's in the market.